In this video, we're going to talk about the MOST framework that's used in strategy and long-term planning. Successful companies don't just focus on where they are today. They think about where it is they plan to go into the future. And with that understanding of where they currently are and where it is they plan to go, they can do the things that need to be done to fill the gap between the two. So you've probably used or heard of at least the SWOT analysis framework. It's a simple tool to help you in assessing that current as-is condition. And just to review it, SWOT stands for strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Strengths and weaknesses generally are thought of as being internal in their nature, whereas opportunities and threats are external to the company. And this is where success for a company really starts. Companies that identify the best opportunities or their biggest weaknesses and then execute strategies that capitalize on those will ultimately perform better. Besides having a clear understanding of where you are today as a company, you need to also start clearly defining where it is that you're trying to go. There are many resources that you have available to you at a company, but many of them are scarce. Cash is scarce, time is scarce, and so you really need to think about how you're going to align and deploy these scarce resources into achieving a specific mission. Part of the power of missions and strategies is giving a focus so that you can direct your resources toward those goals. And there is an acronym, it's similar to SWOT, 4 letters, called MOST. And it provides structure to that sometimes daunting process of setting a mission. So it's a framework. It will help make that strategic planning task a little bit easier. M is for mission, O is for objectives, S is for strategies, and T is for tactics. And you can see that missions are more conceptual in their nature, talking about the fundamental idea that's behind the company. And they're longer term. A mission generally doesn't change over the short term. Objectives are very specific goals that we have in achieving that mission. They're supported by strategies that are the playbook or the roadmap that we use to achieve those objectives and eventually the mission. And then tactics would be the things that we do day to day that produce progress along that roadmap of our strategies to achieve the objectives and eventually the mission. So here's a MOST for a hypothetical company. Let's say that you're running a car company. We put this into a tree diagram by using the MOST approach. At the highest level in this example, we'd say, hey, our mission is to offer the best cars with the best features to a very specific set of customers, discerning customers who are seeking a very complete transportation solution. So that's a pretty broad mission, but it's one that at least starts to communicate what the direction of the company is. But we need more detail to really make this come to life. So maybe some very specific objectives that we have are around growth, to become the premier car manufacturer, again, to discerning customers. Working with dealerships, technology, the most stylish and comfortable cars available. And now if we get quantitative, 200% revenue growth in non-price sensitive segments over 4 years. That's a very specific goal that again is a way of us keeping track of what we're doing to achieve that mission. Around dealerships, we might say, hey, we want our rating to go up by 10 points in 3 years. If we think about technology, on a scale of 1 to 10, maybe we want a styling and interior score of 8 in technology out of 10 on all cars within 4 years. Now if we start talking about strategies, we can say our lead measures, things we can measure along the way as we make progress to the lag measure that's we either achieve that lag measure or not, 200% revenue growth. Well, we can do that by executing strategies that we can track over time. We call them lead measures along the way. Increase awareness and preference. We can measure that and track that. Launch a new luxury car within 2 years. That's a step along the way in a 2-year period to achieve that goal, the lag measure of 200% revenue growth in 4 years. So we're measuring these lead measures along the way as we achieve, hopefully, At the end of the 4 years, this lag measure. Same thing with dealerships, improve dealership skills, optimize dealer discounts so that those dealerships are motivated to sell our vehicles. We need to invest in technology competencies along the way over the 4 years, the lag measure on technology of level 8. We want to incorporate them into the vehicles that we produce. So that's just a high-level overview of this process in action. To close, as you do a most for your company, remember that the idea is not to produce a perfect plan, but to direct your activities towards specific goals, toward a mission. The process is not an end in and of itself. You're doing it to help align and direct the resources of the organization. So planning is about establishing targets, goals, and guiding the efforts of the company. Okay, that's a quick overview of the MOST strategic framework process.